Icon here, and tonight we're going over WWE Fastlane. First pay-per-view for Peacock, last pay-per-view for the WWE Network. I'm still watching it on the WWE Network because I ain't downloaded that Peacock yet, but we'll have everything situated by WrestleMania. So like I said, let's go. Let's get right into this because we're now officially on the road to WrestleMania. You know, obviously, yes, the Royal Rumble, but this is the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, so let's talk about it and see what feuds get built up, what feuds get destroyed, and see the road that we're going to progress to going forward with WrestleMania. So let's start with the kickoff match. So the kickoff match, it was Mustafa Ali and Retribution versus what's his boy name, Riddle. So for the United States Championship, which is cool because I didn't think we were going to get that match at all. So even if it's the pre-show, I was perfectly fine with it. So like I said, it was a good match. You know, Ali's a good wrestler. You know, Riddle's, Riddle, he's the martial arts guy, like he's the kick-ass guy. I thought Ali was actually going to win this match at one point because he had put Riddle in this crazy submission, and you know, Riddle wasn't really like trying to go for the ropes after. Like he was trying, but I don't know. It was just something about that moment that made me feel like, well, shoot, he might actually tap, but he didn't tap. He ended up getting the victory in the end, and you know, Mustafa Ali just blew his chance at the United States title. But the crazy thing is what happened after the match, because after Riddle won and he retained the championship, you know, Ali's been doing this thing every week where like he yells at Retribution and he blames Retribution for the reasons why that he lost. So he's yelling at them again, and then finally, reckoning Mia Yim of all people, she steps out of line, and then Ali's like, "What are you doing? Get back in line," you know, and then she basically stepped up to him. She's like taller than him, which is weird. She steps up to him, and then, you know, he's just like, "Oh, get back in line." And then she basically quits, and then she leaves. She leaves the group. And then he's like, "Oh, you think you're better than me? You're not better than me." So she leaves, and then Slapjack leaves, and then, Ali's just like, "Oh, Slapjack, you're a punk. You know, you're going to leave me too." And then he turns around to the two big dudes, and then he's just like, "Don't quit. You know, like, you belong to Retribution." And then the two of them pick him up and power slam him on the floor. So, so Retribution is officially over. I don't know if the four members that quit, I don't know if they're going to continue to do the Retribution thing without Ali. Maybe they'll get a new leader or something, or maybe they're all split up. Personally, I would like to see them all split up because I would like to see Mace, T-Bar, and Reckoning be solo stars, go back to their old names or whatever. I don't really care too much about Slapjack, but it's like my whole thing is either put a leader, hell, maybe they'll join Seth Rollins. Either put a leader with Retribution that can actually make that group into something big, or just disband them and just have them be like individual solo wrestlers. But, cool match for Riddle, and we'll see who his WrestleMania opponent is now, because I thought he was going to face Ali at WrestleMania, but we're not getting that match now, so we'll see what they do with Riddle and how he defends the United States Championship at WrestleMania. So the pay-per-view starts off with the Women's Tag Team Championships. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. And when both teams got into the ring, they were actually both divided. Both teams, Sasha's arguing with Bianca because they had beef, from this previous Friday Night SmackDown. Nia, and Shayna, they got beef for the same reason. So both teams really aren't on the same page here. Reginald showed back up. He was a part of the match. So, they're going through the match, typical good tag team stuff. So it gets to the point where, in the end, Bianca Belair, she came off the top rope and did a 450 splash onto Shayna Baszler. And, just when the referee was about to count, Reginald jumped up on the apron. Sasha got distracted because she went to attack Reginald, and then, Bianca got mad. She was like, "What are you doing?" You messed the whole thing up. So then later on, they work on Shayna Baszler. They get Shayna in the corner. Sasha goes for the blind tag. They actually had decent tag team chemistry. Two of them pulled off a tag team move where Bianca picked Shayna Baszler up and then she dropped her onto Sasha's knee. So then Sasha immediately goes for the bank statement to make her tap out. Just before Shayna Baszler was probably about to tap out, Nia Jax tries to come into the ring. So then after that, Bianca Belair comes into the ring and try to stop Nia Jax from breaking up the submission. So Bianca's fighting Nia. Nia takes Bianca and throws her on top of Sasha, which breaks up the count. Then after that, the two of them, now Sasha mad. So Sasha gets into an argument with Bianca. She's like, "Oh, I had the submission and you ruined it." She's like, "You ruined it." And she's like, "Yo, I tried to save you." So the two of them, are arguing, the two of them are fighting. And then Sasha slaps Bianca Belair in the face, and I was just like, "Oh, here we go." So, Bianca doesn't say anything. She gets out of the ring. She thought about it for a second, but then she was like, "We're in a match." So she gets out of the ring. As Bianca's getting out of the ring, Shayna goes for a roll up on Sasha Banks, and then Nia Jax grabs Bianca by the foot so she can't interfere, and then Nia gets the roll up victory, and then Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax retain the tag team championships, and they dip. So then after that, Sasha and Bianca are in the ring arguing, and then while they're in the ring arguing, like Sasha's like mushing Bianca in the face, and then she slapped Bianca in the face, and Bianca hit the floor, and then Sasha got out the ring. Bianca got up, and the look on Bianca's face was just like, if I do something to her right now, I'm probably going to get arrested and ruin my shot at WrestleMania. So you know what? I'm going to let that slide. And in about 3 weeks' time, man, I'm going to beat this bitch's ass. So now there's like genuine heat. Like there's genuine, like, you know, there's beef between the two of them because Sasha put her hands on her like 3-4 times. Bianca's not the type of person to just let that slide. So I imagine that when Friday comes, we're actually going to get an all-out brawl between the two of them. Because I feel like, you know, Bianca's going to get her revenge where she's going to slap Sasha back. And the two of them are probably going to end up, like, fighting in the street. So, like I said, the build-up for these two hasn't been that good so far. Like, the build-up hasn't been that good. But because it's Bianca and Sasha Banks, even if the storyline and the build-up is poor and horrible, everyone's still going to watch this match at WrestleMania because this is the match that everybody wants to see. So, like I said, but now, like I said, we got a little aggression going on here, and we'll see what happens this Friday night on SmackDown. Next matchup was the Intercontinental Championship match. The original Apollo Crews versus Big E. And this match honestly didn't last that long. Like, it started off very strong where as soon as the bell rung, both guys were just throwing blows and just beating the tar out of each other. But towards the end, it was a spot where Apollo Crews went for a small package. And when you do a small package, sometimes you're in a position where both guys' shoulders are on the mat. So, you know, the referee did the count. Both shoulders were on the mat. The referee stopped the count. Both guys were trying to like roll them back and forth to pick up leverage. So the referee started counting. She went 1, she went 2, and then Big E used his legs to release the small package and went into a bridge pin just as the referee hit 3, and Apollo Crews lost the match. So because of that, I guess Apollo Crews felt like, you know, Big E didn't really beat him. So then Apollo Crews like jumped him from behind, beat his ass, and then, you know, gave him the steal or whatever. And, you know, he told him, he was like, "This is not over. We are not finished with the Intercontinental Championship." So, you know, so basically, I guess now, because we got such a short match here, and because although Big E won, Apollo was left standing, I feel like they will do this match at WrestleMania, and I hope they do because, like, you know, I like them. I like, you know, both of them together in the ring. I like heel Apollo Crews, and I hope that the two of them do get a WrestleMania match on the big stage for the Intercontinental title, and then, you know, for that, may the best man win. So earlier in the show, we found out that Shane McMahon, he was supposed to fight Braun Strowman tonight. And while Shane McMahon was training, doing his kickboxing, martial arts, MMA training, he quote-unquote hurt his knee, or like he hurt his leg. So he was injured and unable to compete. He later found Elias and Jackson Riker, and he decided to enlist their services so one of them can take his place in the match against Braun Strowman. In the beginning, they did the whole walk with Elias bit where, you know, where he's going to do a song. Braun Strowman comes out, fights Elias, beats his ass, and that was pretty much it. Obviously we know that they were trying to protect Shane McMahon, so it's a WrestleMania match, so they're not going to give it to us, you know, like on Fastlane television. But nonetheless, I mean, it was what it was. Braun Strowman beat Elias, he's looking strong, and now something's going to happen tomorrow on Raw to make, you know, Shane McMahon say, like, all right, fine, I'll take you on at WrestleMania. So we'll see what happens with that, but as it is what it is, and I actually am looking forward to the Shane McMahon-Braun Strowman match, so we'll see how that feud progresses further leading up into WrestleMania. Next up, because of some weird beef that happened on SmackDown, Shinsuke Nakamura, he approached Seth Rollins on SmackDown, and now the two of them ended up having a match today. I gotta be honest, like, I have, like, for the last year, I haven't really cared about anything involving Seth Rollins because I'm not a fan of all the storylines that they're doing with him. I am interested, though, in a match between him and Cesaro. I think that would be really good for WrestleMania. Here he wrestled Shinsuke Nakamura. Seth Rollins beat Shinsuke Nakamura. Cesaro didn't show up. There was no Cesaro cameo, and nothing basically happened. I guess this Friday on SmackDown, Seth will get in the ring talking more trash about how he beat Shinsuke Nakamura. Then Cesaro will show up and challenge him to a match at WrestleMania. So like I said, don't care about the feud, but I actually do care about this match. So we'll see how they actually get to this match and what happens to make sure that they do book this match for WrestleMania. Next match on the card was Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm one of those people that I agreed that this should have just been a number one contenders match. But I'm also in the camp of Sheamus doesn't deserve a number one contenders match. And I mean, there's really nothing to talk about here. Like we all knew Sheamus was gonna lose. We all knew Drew McIntyre was gonna pick up the victory, and that's exactly what happened because he has to look strong going into WrestleMania. So we'll see. Like I said, so we'll see Sheamus in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal as we move forward to Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. Randy Orton versus Alexa Bliss, we knew that wasn't going to happen, and was just to skip to the end during the quote unquote match, the Fiend shows up and the Fiend is back. We knew the Fiend was going to come back soon because Orton's going to fight the Fiend at WrestleMania for the second time now. Didn't he? I feel like he fought Bray twice though, but this is going to be the second match between the two. He did come back. He looks a little slimmer. He did come back with he has a burnt mask face now, where he actually does look like a burnt. They did do a good job of making him look like he was burnt. It's not like he just came back looking smooth as silk, as though nothing ever happened. So I will give them credit for that. They did put a lot of energy and time into his appearance. But like I said, when the Fiend showed up, he laid out Randy Orton, and then Alexa Bliss and the Fiend stood over Randy Orton's carcass, and now we're gonna get Orton versus the Fiend at WrestleMania. And finally, for the Universal Championship, we have Daniel Bryan versus the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And if we're being honest here, nobody knew. We all know Daniel Bryan's not going to win the title. We know Roman Reigns is going into WrestleMania as the champion. We know that. But I'm not going to lie. With that being said, there were a lot of moments during this match where I honestly thought he was really going to win. Daniel Bryan did a very good job of convincing me he had a legitimate shot at winning this championship and that he wasn't just going to get run over by Roman Reigns. So there's a moment where the two of them are going at it, and then the referee gets knocked out. When the referee gets knocked out, Edge, because Edge was the special enforcer, Edge ended up coming into the ring, to be the referee, because the special enforcer, they can take over as the referee if the referee gets incapacitated. So, Edge is refereeing the match or whatever. While he's refereeing the match, there's a moment where, Daniel Bryan has the yes lock on Roman Reigns, trying to get Roman Reigns to tap. So then, main event, Jey Uso shows up, and then he super kicks Edge, which is an automatic disqualification. He super kicks, Daniel Bryan, and, he ends up getting a chair. He picks up the chair, he's going to knock everybody out with the chair. They ended up, Daniel Bryan gets the chair from him, and then Daniel Bryan starts wailing on everybody with the chair. Daniel Bryan goes to hit Roman Reigns with the chair. Roman Reigns moves, and Daniel Bryan accidentally hits Edge, and then Edge goes down. So then the two of them fight some more. Daniel Bryan gets Roman Reigns in the yes lock, and as he has him in the yes lock, he had the yes lock on him for so long, Reigns' face started turning red, and Roman Reigns actually started tapping out, he actually tapped out to the yes lock. So technically Daniel Bryan won the match, but Edge was incapacitated because Edge got hit with the chair, and then Edge gets up while Roman Reigns is tapping. Instead of calling the match, for Daniel Bryan, Edge takes the chair and hits Daniel Bryan with the chair because Daniel Bryan hit him with the chair. He hits Roman Reigns, and then he beats both of them guys. He beats both guys with the chair, and then he's just like, oh, you guys don't do that to me. I'm the Rated R Superstar. And then he gets mad and he leaves. So then a third official shows up, and then by the time the third referee showed up, Roman Reigns crawled on top of Daniel Bryan and got the 1-2-3 victory. So this is actually a good match. It was, I like the ending. It was definitely a good ending. And, I have to be honest, I feel like we're going to get a triple threat match now, because before people were talking triple threat, but I'm just like, nah, we're not going to get a triple threat. I was like, they're going to make it a one-on-one between Edge and between Edge and Roman Reigns. But the way Roman Reigns has been booked, he's so strong. You also can't sell me on the fact that Edge is going to beat him. There's no way I'm going to believe that Edge is going to legitimately beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So I guess now adding Daniel Bryan into the mix will make it more believable for Edge to actually pull off a victory. And again, I'm not upset with the triple threat match thing either, because I'm more interested. The two matches I'm interested in is Lashley versus McIntyre and Sasha versus Bianca. But like I said, the whole thing with Roman and Edge, I knew that Edge, I know Edge won't beat him, so that's why I didn't really care. But if you make it a triple threat, I'll get more into it now, because at least then it'll have some intrigue and I won't be able to know what happens. But like I said, it was a good main event, and I'm definitely looking forward to SmackDown now to see what happens, with the three of those guys going into Fastlane. So that was it. That was my review for WWE Fastlane. We're on the fast track, the fast lane to WrestleMania. Like I said, decent pay-per-view, but the whole pay-per-view was really just to set up certain WrestleMania feuds. We don't know what's going to happen with the women's tag team titles now. We don't know what, Matt Riddle's going to do for a U.S. title opponent. So, so we'll see. Like, the WWE still has a lot of things to do, because if you're doing a 2-night WrestleMania, you're basically going to have to come up with at least 14 to 16 matches. And y'all don't got 16 feuds in the chamber right now, so some last-minute stuff will definitely be put together. But like I said, it's WrestleMania season, so we're all excited and we're all here for it. Thanks, guys, for tuning in for my WrestleMania review. For those that watch the Justice League Snyder Cut, my review for the Snyder Cut, is up on the channel. I did 4 reviews for I did 4 reviews for the Snyder Cut. One video talking about chapters 1 and 2, chapters 3 and 4, chapters 5 and 6, and then the epilogue. I also did one for Falcon Winter Soldier, and then, we're sticking to our regularly scheduled CW DC TV programming. So that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and for Fastlane, all the way up until WrestleMania, we'll be back, and I'm out this bitch!